Hey there. So the Loom videos turned out to be a failure. I don't know why they were blurring out, but I'm recording now with recording software. So this is essentially the folder, and I will be sharing the link to this folder with you. And what you will do is that on your own personal drive, you will create a folder named projects. Now, this is important that you do it exactly the same as I'm telling you. And then you will create another folder inside of the projects folder named German-GPT2, and then you will move all of these files into your own folder from the shared folder that I will share with you. Next up, we will check out the first file here, which is datacleaning.ipynb. Now what we're doing here is that essentially we are doing some basic text cleaning. Now we will import pandas, and then we will import the tweets file, and then we will convert these labels into lowercase because some of them were in title case and others were in lowercase, so we had to take care of that. Next up, we will separate the positive tweets and the negative tweets, and next we'll do some text cleaning. Now we will try to remove some of the HTTPS links, not the Twitter ones, because um, they add a sense of um, being real to the tweet, as in they really seem that they were written by a human when we leave the Twitter links there. And we will also remove the brackets, and we will convert multiple m's to only two m's. And I also tried removing um, characters other than alphabets, the English alphabets, but this turned out to be a bad idea because that essentially removed characters that were specific to German. I also tried to remove the author names, but that also turned out to be a bad idea. As I said, deep learning is a process of continuous iteration. You have to try out different ideas and see what works and what doesn't. So next up, we will split all of the tweets into the training set and the validation set. Now this is important because GPT-2 needs a training set and a validation set in order to be fine-tuned. So we will include 10,000 tweets in the training set and the rest of the tweets in the validation set. And we will do the same for the positive tweets, right? And we will save them to two text files, necktrain.txt and neckval.txt. Alright, so that was it for the cleaning part, and let me include the next part in this recording as well, which is the fine-tuning of the model itself. Now this will be included in the notebook that you shared with me. Let's start from the very beginning. We will mount the drive. Now this is one of the most important parts here. This needs to be the same path in your own drive, unless you want to change this code here. So that's why I told you to create the same folders. Next up, we will install transformers using the Git repository. Using the GitHub repository, uh, we're not installing directly because this was causing some errors. Next up, we'll import NumPy, autoconfig, autotokenizer, and auto model with language model head. So these are classes from the transformers library. So we will fine-tune GPT-2 for negative tweets, and then we'll fine-tune it for positive tweets. Now what we're doing here is that we are running a script, and this script is present in the folder right here. You can have a look at it if you want. It's called run language modeling.py. We're just running it here for the sake of brevity, and it has a few arguments that I will explain in a bit. So output directory equals German neg. This is the directory that you want to save your fine-tuned model to. So after the script is run, after it has finished running, it will save German neg, which is the fine-tuned version of GPT-2 that generates negative tweets. It will be saved right here in a folder called German neg, right? The next argument is model type equals GPT-2, model name or path equals anonymous German NLP slash German GPT-2. So this is the pre-trained German GPT-2 model that I was talking about earlier. Next we will specify the training directory, which is negtrain.txt, the validation directory, which is negval.txt. Per device train batch size equals 2. So if we set this to a higher number, Kula will definitely run out of memory. And also the learning rate is 5 into 10 to the minus fifth, and the number of training epochs is 1. Now I encourage you to set this to 2 or 3. I did this with 1, but you can run this for 2 more epochs and see if you get a better result. Now if you run this for more epochs, it will overwrite the German neg file, and it will overwrite it with the newly trained model. Next up we will see some samples. So this script right here, python run generation.py, which is included in the drive, it will generate some sample tweets, 10 actually, because we have explicitly mentioned that here, and it will generate 10 of those to let us have a look at what the model is doing. So next up we will formally generate the tweets and save them into a file, many files actually. So we are setting up the tokenizer and the model, right? And we will specify here which folder we are taking the parameters from. Next up, now this is the fun part. What we're doing here is that we are taking the negtrain.txt file, which has 10,000 negative tweets, and we are taking the first 2 words from each tweet. Now we will use the first 2 words from each tweet to let GPT-2 autocomplete the tweets, and it will generate novel negative tweets from that point onwards. So we are only taking the first 2 words and we are saving them into a list called all input IDs. We are actually first encoding the first 2 words by using tokenizer.encode, and then we are saving it into all input IDs, and we will use this list here, all input IDs, to generate the new tweets. Now this part is the most important. Now since we have 10,000 tweets, we can only generate 10,000 more tweets at a time, right? So what this seed variable does is that when the seed is 0, it will generate 10,000 more tweets. If you want to generate 10,000 more, you will set this seed to be 1, so that it will generate new 10,000 tweets. If you want 10,000 more to make the overall sum to be 30,000, you will set this seed to a different number, right? And this is the max variable. I've set it to be 5 because it was taking too long. You will set it to 10,000 so that it generates the 10,000 tweets. Now what we will do here is that, actually I forgot something here. Yeah. Now so it will go through the input IDs, all of them, 10,000 of them, and it will generate 100 tweets. And once it will check that 100 tweets have been generated, it will save them to a checkpoint file, which will be called by this name: negative seed, negatives seed 0, because seed is 0 here, hyphen checkpoint hyphen 100 dot txt. This will be the first checkpoint. Then we will have negatives seed 0, checkpoint 200, checkpoint 300, 400, 500. Each checkpoint, each text file will contain 100 tweets, right? The first checkpoint will only contain a single tweet, because this loop will run once, and a file will be saved which will contain only a single tweet. And moving forward, the rest of the checkpoints will contain 100 tweets, right? And we will do the same for the positive tweets. All right, so that we will now have two GPT-2 fine-tuned models, one for the negative tweets and one for the positive tweets. All right, so next we'll move on to the part where we combine all of these files that we will generate into two separate files, one for the negative tweets and one for the positive tweets. Now, one thing you must remember is that when we were generating the positive tweets, we actually have 14,000 positive tweets in the training set. So max here will be 14,000, not 10,000 for the positive tweets. I've written this right here. So next up, we will combine all of these checkpoints into two single files, right? Two separate files. So we will open this up, final tweet cleaning, and what we'll do here is that we will open up, we will first off mount the drive, and we will open up all of the checkpoint files separately, and then we will create two lists: all pos, all neg, and we will combine the positives together, we will combine the negatives together, so that towards the end we only have two files. One will be called positivegen.txt, containing all the positive tweets, and negativegen.txt, containing all the negative tweets, and it will be in this format. They'll be in this format. So if it's a negative tweet, it will start with negative semicolon, and the tweet will follow after this. So this is in German. I don't know what this is, but I'm sure you understand. So if it's a positive tweet, it will start with positive, and the rest of the tweets will follow on here, right? So that was all. Thank you so much.